Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. And today we're talking about the worst part of running a Kickstarter campaign. We're getting into the trenches, we're going deep, and we're talking about what I think the worst part of running a Kickstarter campaign is. And we're gonna get into that today. Okay, so what is the worst part of running a Kickstarter campaign? I want to try to be really honest, really transparent with you, and just kind of share the answer to that question. But before I do, if you haven't yet, go and check me out on Instagram. You can search my name, Salvador Briggman, and you can come across my Instagram profile. I'll put out videos there, really bite-sized bits of information and knowledge. If you're interested, you can always go and check me out on Instagram. But that being said, I kind of want to get into this topic. And the reason is that I think all too often people on YouTube will just kind of paint a really rosy sunshine picture of whatever it is that they're talking about. So it could be e-commerce, it could be blogging, it could be podcasting, it could be Kickstarter, whatever it is, coaching. People always post like a really rosy glow kind of a picture. And I think that it's not very, I think it's disingenuous, it's really not giving credit to people who are really intelligent and really smart out there and can handle it. I know that if I share some of these things with you, that you're going to be able to look at this as a variable. It's not like all black and, it's not just black and white, it's sort of shades of gray. And you're going to be able to take this variable in your mind and be able to really think about it, reflect on it, and not allow it to dissuade you from pursuing your dreams or from launching a campaign. It's really just something to be aware of. The worst part of running a Kickstarter campaign is the uncertainty and the decision making that results from that uncertainty. So I want you to think back to the times when you were told about business. And it could be from a family member, it could be from a friend, it could be from a teacher that you had. All too often when we talk about business, usually someone in our life has said something along the lines of, wow, business is really risky. You're gonna lose a lot of money. Make sure you don't hire this person or hire other people. Make sure you do everything yourself because someone's gonna rip you off eventually, or they're gonna steal your intellectual property. They're gonna take your trademark. If you don't patent this, someone's gonna knock it off in China. Why are you even bothering to do this? This is a dumb idea. Are those kinds of the things that people have told you before when it comes to business? Chances are they have, because that definitely has happened in my own life, right? And I think that there is a little bit of truth, obviously, to some of these things where if you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to accomplish something and you have a lot of resources, people can take advantage of you. However, at the same time, there's no reason that you can't become educated and learn about this process of launching a Kickstarter campaign. That's what my entire channel is designed to do, is to teach these things so that we can shed a little bit of light on this entire process. Now, there is uncertainty, and there are a lot of different elements of uncertainty. So for example, uncertainty of whether or not people will buy the product. Uncertainty of the problem in which you identified and created a product out of. Uncertainty about the market, who really in the market is going to be the best particular customer. Uncertainty of, with the resources that you have available to you, can you pull off success? In other words, do you have the ingredients for success? One of the things I talk about is needing the ingredients for success. So for example, if you're trying to light a fire, right, and you have the wood, but you don't have tinder, it's going to be harder to light the fire. It's going to take you a lot longer. If you have the wood and the tinder, but you don't have matches, it's going to be like, okay, I got to rub two sticks together. It's going to take forever in order to get some smoke going in order to light this fire. If you have wood, tinder, the matches, but the wood is wet, it's still not going to work, right? You got to have the ingredients necessary in order to have the thing work, in order to have fire, in order to have success, right? So it's so important to realize that when you're going into a particular Kickstarter campaign. That being said, at the same time, just because this is something that is uncertain doesn't mean it always has to be uncertain. So the way that I tend to approach this situation is I will identify, and with my coaching students, we will write out the various things that we are uncertain about. So number one, let's just say that you're uncertain whether or not people will buy the product at this particular price, okay? We can run a market test in order to see whether or not people will do that. Let's just say another thing. We're uncertain if you can actually gather leads, like Facebook followers, Instagram followers, email subscribers, if you can actually gather that from people that have never heard of you or seen the product before, can you set up a landing page or set up a pre-launch that gets people to do that, to opt in and to build an audience? So maybe the uncertainty for you is, I don't know if I can build an audience, right? We can run a test in order to figure that out. So the way that I approach this is, rather than looking at this and thinking, there is so much uncertainty, I'm so afraid, I don't know what's gonna happen, I'm really worried, I'm gonna make a mistake, all these voices start swirling around in your head of the people who have been talking to you your entire life of how you're gonna be a failure or how businesses are risky, right? Rather than listening to the cacophony, that's a big word, right? The cacophony of these voices, I'm on a roll here, man. Rather than listening to these voices, instead what we can do is we can take more of a rational approach and we can write out all these things that you're uncertain about and we can figure them out together, or you can figure them out on your own, right? And you can create little tests in order to figure those out. Here's another example. Let's just say that you're thinking yourself, you're writing all these things down, and you're like, I'm uncertain that I can actually make a profit like with this campaign. I know like I'm not even trying to necessarily make a profit, like I'm just trying to launch this product and get it out there to people, but I'm afraid, I wanna make sure that I know my numbers. Well, an easy way to narrow in on that uncertainty is just to create a few different basic financial models. So like a basic one, an ideal one, a best case one, right? It's really easy just to begin to break out the Excel spreadsheet and to do a little bit of number crunching, or how many backers do you need in order to hit your fundraising goal? What is the average order value going to be? So I don't buy into the approach that business is inherently risky or these kinds of things that a lot of people have probably said to you in the past. Instead, I come from the approach of identifying risk, of identifying the ways that we need to mitigate that, and what are the best avenues going forward. So for example, let's say that you're trying to launch a new product. And again, the worst part is the uncertainty, right? Because you're afraid, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work. And you're like, you know what? Regardless of whether or not I go through Kickstarter as my pre-order launching platform and gathering backers and that kind of stuff from strangers online that I've never met before, if I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but I do at some point want this product to get out there to the world. And I'm willing to invest in the tooling necessary in order to get this thing made, right? And it'd be nice if I had a successful Kickstarter, but I don't necessarily know if that's gonna happen. But regardless, I wanna go full steam ahead with this particular project. So if you think about that, it's like, okay, so you want this result. You wanna go from point A to point B. Point B is you wanna have people ordering your product. You wanna have people buying it online. You wanna be able to wake up, check your phone and see Shopify store orders or orders from your WordPress website, right? Your WooCommerce store, and to know that you're making money and that you're building a sustainable business and people are happy with their products. What has to happen in order for you to do that? Well, you need photos, you need video of the product, you need a community, you need email lists, you need Facebook profile, you need Instagram, right? You need a bunch of different stuff in order to market and had to develop these different marketing channels. Guess what? You need those things too if you're gonna do a Kickstarter. So when I'm talking to a client, at first I'm trying to get a sense of what is their end goal? What are they trying to accomplish? And how can Kickstarter be one stage as a part of that larger goal? Because yes, we can focus 100% on the Kickstarter over the next 3 months, right? Or something like that. But at the end of the day, it has to fit into a larger goal. And when it does, all of the activity that you're doing, the building up the social media, the getting people excited, taking high quality photos, taking high quality videos, all that stuff that you're doing also plays into your end goal. You gotta do it anyway, right? So it's almost like a win-win in that kind of a fashion. So I like to do a lot of this risk mitigation or identifying uncertainty, identifying what's holding you back, what's causing you to feel the way that you're feeling, and really getting it out on paper and running either market tests or ways of going about the strategy in order to make it so that we can mitigate a lot of those things. And I think ideally, even if you have a campaign that doesn't necessarily raise as much money as you want, there should be a way that success is an outcome. And that could just be honestly getting the testimonials of the people who are pre-ordering the product and using that for your marketing when you then are live with your website, or being able to talk with these people and getting their feedback on your actual prototype and iterating on your prototype so you can get it to a point where then you're selling it full-fledged online. So that's kind of the way that I like to think a little bit more. So the worst part of running a Kickstarter is that uncertainty and the choices that you make to spontaneously buy this package or this service or hire this person who doesn't know what they're talking about, right? Those are the kinds of bad decisions that come when we feel uncertainty, we feel panic, we start to make decisions that we normally wouldn't make, right? And that's the worst situation to be in. And I just kind of wanted to be upfront and honest with you that I think that that is something that's a little bit difficult, right? When it comes to doing a Kickstarter campaign. But here's the kicker. You got to go through those emotions anyway. If you want to do anything of noteworthy, challenge in this world, you have to push past a lot of those negative emotions and a lot of that fear and all those things holding you back. Anything that you've ever wanted, there's a great saying, I forget who said this quote, maybe you can leave it in the description or in the comments down below who said this quote, but everything great is on the other side of fear, whether that's approaching the woman who's going to end up being the mother of your kids, or taking a risk and applying to school and maybe getting into this really great program and having to work super hard to get a degree, or launching this business out of your garage or out of your home studio, your home office, and getting it up on the ground and eventually having hundreds of employees. All of these things require you to push past some of these barriers, and that fear is almost that 1,000-pound gorilla. So if you resonate with this message, leave a comment down below, let me know, give me a thumbs up, come follow me on Instagram. You can search my name, Salvador Briggman, and also come subscribe to this YouTube channel and turn on notifications if you want more videos like this. I got a lot of great practical stuff out there. My book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, go and dive into some of the other videos I got out there. I got my podcast available on iTunes. You can search my name, Salvador Briggman, or Crowdfunding Demystified, I believe I think it'll come up. But thank you so much for listening to this video. Really appreciate you, and I hope you have a good one.